As you can see, there's no load on it. It has a little bit of a hunt to it when it's running on eco throttle. When I exercised the generator about a week ago, the hunt was horrible to the point where it was almost stalling out on eco throttle, and it was hunting on regular throttle. I cleaned the air filter, changed the spark plug, and it was still hunting really bad. Today I intended to make a video trying to figure out what was wrong and planned on cleaning the idle circuit. And I may still do that, but I think before we do, we're going to try just adjusting the idle setting and see if maybe it's just set a little too low. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here with the Predator 3500 inverter generator that we have. I brought it out of the garage to exercise it about a week ago, and I wish I had thought to take video of it then, but this thing started right up, and when I turned the choke off, my first thought was maybe I turned the choke off too fast because it was stumbling and hunting and just not running really well. So I put the choke back on a little ways, hoping that it would warm up and smooth out, and it never really did. It hunted all over the place. When I would turn the eco throttle on, it almost stalled out. It just wasn't running well without a load on it. As soon as I applied a load to it, it ran beautifully. So to me, that pointed to either a restriction in the idle circuit or something like that, and I started digging around. I changed the air filter, I changed the spark plug. About a week prior, I had cleaned the spark arrestor before I exercised it, so we're at 73 hours on this unit. Something was not right. So here we are looking at the side of the Predator. You can see here, this is an overhead valve engine. She's still a little warm from me running her. Spark plug's under here. The carburetor is behind this brace. And if we kind of sneak around to the back side here, you can see the carburetor buried in here. And down here, where my finger is the idle speed screw. So I got to figure out how to get to that. And down underneath that, you can't really see in the video, if I move the hose, there's this little black thing here under the screw. That's actually the idle speed, or excuse me, the idle circuit jet. So we may end up digging in that far, but for now, let's see if I can figure out how to get the side of this thing off enough to be able to get to the carburetor and make some adjustments. So as I look at the bottom of this thing, I see there's 3 bolts that look like they're holding this bottom bracket on. I don't see anything up top, so what I'm going to try doing is see if I can pull these bolts, and if that lets me loosen up the rest of the unit. I have never actually tried to tear this far into this thing, and of course, the toolkit that I have here with me probably doesn't have the right side socket. 7/16 is too big, and 3/8 is too small, so I guess I'm going to the garage to grab some more tools. I'll be right back. Alright, so it took me a couple minutes of digging to find this. Maybe I should do a video on organizing my garage. But for those of you who are wondering, this is a 10 millimeter. Overall, I'm still very happy with this unit. I've got a couple theories as to what the problem could be. I did some reading online, and one of the suggestions that someone that had a similar hunt problem with their unit hunting had, other than vent the oil door, had to do with the evap canister here. And to me that makes a little bit of sense, because I did accidentally overfill the unit the last time I used it, which was the 4th of July. So it's possible that what I was running into is that the evap canister was flooding out that idle circuit, and that is not going to open. So let's see here. How do we get in here? There's got to be a way to make some adjustments. I could sneak a screwdriver through there, I bet. So let's put these back on, just because I don't want to lose them. We'll see if I can sneak a screwdriver around this base and tweak that idle speed adjustment a little bit. If not, I'm going to have to do some research on how to actually get this thing apart, because at some point I'm sure I'm going to need to get that carburetor out of there to adjust it, or clean it. I really should just get in the habit of running seafoam through this thing every time I fill it. That would help stabilize the gas, because I do store this with fuel in it. To me, I'd store it dry. The problem with that is then I got to figure out how to drain it, and that's not super easy to do. I could just drain the float bowl. That is an accessible thing that I can get to right here, and it's already got hoses hooked up to it, so I could drain the float bowl. But then I'm worried the seals will dry out. I could modify the shut-off switch on the front of this thing to only turn off the fuel, and then wire in a kill switch, because right now when you turn it off, it turns off the fuel and it kills the spark. So I don't know, all things to think about. So let's see if I can get a screwdriver in there. The Phillips head. Can I sneak this in here? Yes, I can. So let's see what happens here. We're going to fire this thing up. And again, it was running. I've got eco throttle off. So we're going to start it there, and then we'll start adjusting with the eco throttle on. So I tweaked the idle speed adjustment a little bit. It didn't seem to really make a whole lot of difference. I don't know if you noticed when I turned the eco throttle up, or off I should say, that it did seem like it was hunting just a little bit, and then when I adjusted it, that was the problem. I'm not convinced that I fixed anything, so I think I'll have to do some more research, but it's running worlds better than it did last week, and I have no explanation as to why. I do want to look more at that evap canister and see if maybe there's something goofy with that was causing it to act like it's flooded out. overall, I am still very happy with this unit. As long as I got the side open, I figure I'll check the oil, but when I checked it before, it was still right where it needed to be. So I'm going to grab a rag, we'll check the oil, and then we'll button her up. And I guess we'll call it a day, and I'll do some more research. While we're checking the oil here, a lot of people that have seen this generator ask me why I didn't buy a Honda or a Yamaha, and to be honest with you, it mainly came down to cost. For what I paid for this, I can buy 3 Hondas or Yamahas and still be in the same neighborhood. Yes, I know what all you Honda fans are saying, and I understand and I agree. Yamaha, you're saying the same thing. I'll probably... The Honda and the Yamaha will last longer. No argument from me there. Heck, the Honda and the Yamaha may outlast this thing 3 times over. I've seen videos of these things with thousands of hours on them, and frankly, don't ask me why I'm checking the oil again. Frankly, yeah, right up to full. I've seen videos with these things with thousands of hours on them. I've talked to Honda owners that have thousands of hours. I've talked to Honda owners that have thousands of hours. Honda, Yamaha, this thing, I'm convinced that as long as you maintain it, that it's going to last. This thing is cast iron sleeve, just like a Honda and a Yamaha. It's, you know, the motor is basically a Honda, I think GX 260 or something like that. I don't remember the exact model number. But it's basically a modified clone of that. It's not an exact clone. And I'm convinced if you take care of it, that it'll take care of you. I've had a lot of people that have been interested in this thing when I've had it out and about. And everyone that's seen it running and in operation has been impressed by it. I'm sure I'm going to have many years of trouble-free operation from it. And at the end of the day, it's my money, and I bought what I thought would work well. So if I'm wrong, well, lesson learned, I'll buy a better one. If I'm right, I save $1,600. Well, no, not $1,600. Let's try $1,400. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of camping I can do. So for now, if you've got any ideas as to why this thing was hunting, if you've got experience with these things or a Honda that has done the same thing, and you got some suggestions on what I can look into, drop a comment down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of the Predator, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, click the little notification bell. If you haven't subscribed already, somewhere on this screen I'll put a subscribe button. And until the next time I see you guys, enjoy your destinations, because I know I will.